Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining our first virtual roundtable discussion in recognition of World Refugee Day tomorrow. Tomorrow marks the 20th anniversary of this international observance. My name is Elizabeth, and I will be one of the hosts for this evening. I have with me here Liddell Matthews, if you can see on your virtual right or left side of your screen, and she'll be helping me facilitate the conversation for today.
Great, and thank you for joining us. We also have 5 representatives from local organizations who serve refugees and immigrants throughout Northeast Florida. And MOSH strives to incorporate inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility into every aspect of the museum's role in the community. And our goal is to encourage this dialogue and provide a safe space for open discussion.
Yep. All right, now before we get started, can each of you please state your name, your organization's name, and the role you play in your organization. So let's begin with Beyond 90.
Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Lori Chelf and I am a co-founder of Beyond 90 with my husband.
All right, Catholics Bureau.
Hi everybody, my name is Hellai Noorzai. I work as an RMP and Match Grant Program Manager with Catholic Charities.
Jacksonville Area Legal Aid.
Hello, my name is Andrea Pinzon. I work for Jacksonville Area Legal Aid. I'm a director of immigration.
Project for Healing.
My name is Christine Rothberg. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and founder of Project for Healing, a refugee mental health and wellness center.
Last but certainly not least, WeaveTales.
Yes, I am Basma Alawee, former refugee, Florida refugee organizer with We Are All America and the executive director of WeaveTales.
Thank you all so much for introducing yourselves. Now let's dive into the conversation.
Right.
Those that are listening in, please feel free to write any questions in the comment box below the screen, and then we'll make sure to get to those at the end of the discussion.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pose the first question to the group. What, in your own words, is the difference between the two terms immigrant and refugee?
I think an immigrant is like an umbrella term. Andrea, you can correct me at any time. I think immigrant is like an umbrella term, and under that umbrella comes a lot of different designations, refugee being one, asylee, parolee being others, unaccompanied minor. So I think immigrant is like the refugee term, and then you have the specifiers.
Yes, I'll jump in. So yes, immigrant is it's a little bit of a much broader term. It encompasses basically anybody, any person coming into the country with the intention to like set residency or to live here. And then the refugee, it has a lot of definitions. I mean, I'm talking very broad definition. It's a person who has fled their country due to persecution of some type, in which, or he has a well-founded fear of that persecution happen in their country, and they're not safe to return there. That's basically kind of like the, Christine was correct, like an umbrella term, and then refugees, we're talking about asylees. There is a lot of confusion sometimes. People, when you tell them who are asylees or refugees, they don't understand the terms. So a refugee is a person who does their process outside the United States. They go through the United Nations process to become refugees. An asylee is a person who comes and has an asylee status inside the United States, who does all their process to basically become a refugee inside the United States.
Or maybe in another term, we can say that refugees, they are forced to leave their countries because of the environmental disaster, also because of the political persecution, or as Andrew said, and because of the religious or ethnic intolerances. And refugees are invited to United States to live and to join their family members. But immigrants, they are not forced to leave their countries. They generally come to United States for two reasons, I can say. The first reason could be that they are joining their family members who are already in the United States. And the second reason could be that they are leaving their country seeking a better life, a better job opportunities inside the United States.
Those are great definitions. I didn't know. I knew there was some distinction, but that really helped me, and I'm sure those that are watching as well. But I will ask our next question to you all. Everyone can chime in as you see fit. What are some primary issues you see in the refugee community today, and specifically in our community?
Well, one of the things that we really see when people come to our office is that a lot of the refugees that come here have been in the United States for a long time. They may have come from extended periods in refugee resettlement camps or living in another country. A lot of times they don't have a high level of marketable skills. There's the cultural differences, and this just creates a very steep learning curve for them. And when they come into our culture, we're very work-based, and it's work, 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 pay your bills, and that's a shock. And so we see that a lot of them remain in like this survival crisis mode for a long period of time because they're just trying to manage, feed their families, pay their bills. And when you have things happen to them like housing continues to be on the rise, but yet their wages aren't increasing at the same rate, that creates a huge vulnerability for them. And so when they're in that survival mode for such a long period of time, they really don't have a mindset for personal growth because they're just trying to make ends meet with their families. And it's hard for them to really advance. And so even when we talk to them and encourage them about expanding their English, I just can't right now, it's hard. It takes a while to get really settled in. And we see that with a lot of families that come through here. And that's a major issue for us. And especially with the housing one that we're going to try and work towards accomplishing to achieve better housing options for that.
Or as difficulty speaking English, as Lori said, finding jobs, and also transportation, limited transportation are the very real issues. Also, I can say like accessing mental health is also one of the issues for the refugees in the community. As we all know that refugees, immigrants, they have been exposed to violence like rape, torture while they were in their countries, and when they get to United States, they don't know how to seek help, and even when we get this project of healing, Christine, when they receive a call from Christine, all of my clients, they get kind of shocked and they are scared to share their mental health, mental problem with someone. So right away they call me back that why I received this call. Like I again explained to them that this is why the refugee clinic referred you to project of healing. It's not something scary, you will be fine. So for the first appointment with project of healing, all of my clients, they are scared. They think something bad is happening to them. But for the second appointment, I see their faces, I see their reaction. They know that no, this program is here to help me to help me with the issues that I have mentally.
Going on into that, I just add, same for us. I think it's a lot of stigma about mental health, and it's not something that people commonly get. It's actually a little bit better in the United States, but still it's a lot of stigma when somebody has a mental health issue or has mental health help, I guess. So I have a lot of people that I say you will benefit from receiving some mental health benefits. Let me contact you with this person, different resources in the community that can help you. And they said, I'm not crazy. That's kind of like the first thing that they tell us. Yeah, I'm not crazy. So like, I'm not saying that you are, and they just kind of like start guarded from them. So I remember a while ago having a conversation with Christine about how approaching, refugees and other people regarding the need these services, to say, how do I approach them to tell them, I think you benefit from this. It's important for you to do this, but not, they're just very, very guarded. So she was very helpful and said, this is how you approach, especially kids. Just had a lot of pushback from parents when we tell them, your kid will benefit from receiving help. He said, he's fine, my kid go to school, he's fine now. But they don't really know, right? It's a lot of that stigma that says mental health. They think that just because you receive that they are crazy. So I just, I don't know what other people here in the community think about that.
I know Christine might share more about that, and I know Project for Healing have been a great partner on referring. I have been referring a lot of refugees to Project for Healing, and what I really liked about their program is not just about treating them mentally, but also how to make them stable before they enter that phase, and how they share resources and make sure that our community are connected with resources, which is what led us to partner for a project that we are still working on that we could talk about later. But I think the struggle that refugees face a couple of years ago, much different than now, because before we did have more refugees program that exist, more organizations and more resources for these communities. But a couple of years ago, we had a lot of programs have closed. A lot of refugee resettlement agencies not just closed but lost funding and needed to lay out a lot of their employees, which is themselves. I have been speaking with many caseworkers who really felt lost because that's not just work for them, it's passion. And some of them are refugees who came and start struggling and then find themselves working and supporting other refugees through their work. So I think, but we still have refugees in our communities with all the cut, with all the loss of these organizations. And I feel like now the pressure on these small organizations who still exist and because they really want to continue the work are more. So the pressure now, not just on the refugees community, but also on these organizations who still try to survive. And I know, just to mention, but all of that led to organizations like Beyond 90 and some other small organization to start because they want to pick up from the loss of this organization that needed until now. So I think the struggle little different now. It's more challenging to the community and to the refugees themselves. And I know some others might share more about that.
I think I agree with Basma. Like part of it, it's part of the kind of administration policy to reduce the number of refugees that are allowed to come into the country. When we're talking about 2016, there were about 100,000 refugees were the cap, and we're talking about last year or a couple of years, it was reduced to 30,000, and now it's reduced to only 18,000. So we've seen dramatic numbers, and in which they're not allowed to come in anymore. And then part of that is we're talking about reunification of families. So a lot of the refugees that we serve struggle with the idea of they came in here thinking that as soon as they come into the United States, they will be fine and they will be sent to bring their families here. But now we have these processes and that reunification process, it's taking years and it's been stuck in administrative processing and in the government just because they are in a line. Right? So you get your approval of your you prove that they are your family members or whatnot, and they just get stuck in these 18,000 cap. and then they fill out so quickly, and then you have to wait for the next year, and then the next year, and then the next year, and then the next year. So like I say, we have families that we've been trying to reunify for since probably 2014, 15, that they're still kind of waiting in there to bring their family members to the United States. And I understand it's a difficult process because, like I say, they think that one person gets here, just the other one will follow really quickly, but that's not the case. And it's hard. It's been hard for us to make them understand that that's not the case.
True. And now with this situation, with the current situation, that there is a pause on the refugee arrivals until an uncertain time, it's really hard for the families to understand the situation, because every day I receive a lots of calls that we have assured a lots of cases for this year. So we receive a lots of calls from the families that when is my family coming? So it's really disappointing for me to answer them, to tell them that, like, give them I don't have any answer for them. So I'm like trying to explain for them the situation, and again after a week the same person calls me again that is the situation has changed. So it's really disappointing that the family, like, we don't have any answer for the families. I cannot give a hope for the families at this situation that yes, like your family, your brother, your sister, or your mother or your friend will come in a month or will come in 2 months. So it's a really uncertain situation. Hopefully the situation gets better soon, but right now there is like a pause on the arrivals for the uncertain time, and we don't know till when.
So Elizabeth, I wanted to go back to your original question, which was things that refugees are kind of lacking. That was the question, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the things that I think is really important is to be able to connect all people, not just refugees, immigrants, all people to quality medical care. And a lot of times in our communities, we have the resources to be able to get people registered for some quality medical care and to be able to connect them. And sometimes we don't. And one of the things that I have noticed is that is a really big weight off of a client, a refugee's shoulders or asylee's shoulders, that they are able to find a connection to some form of medical care. And that is one of the things that I think is really important for providers to do, is to ask if the client has not only food in their refrigerator or a job, but also, have you been able to connect to a doctor? And if they haven't, to be able to know the resources in order to be able to get them connected with a doctor, because we do have the resources in the community to help them with that. So it's that connection, though, that sometimes is lacking. And when refugees and asylees come into the country, a lot of times people don't understand that they get 8 months of Medicaid. And that is really lovely, because so many people don't even have that. But to be able to get our refugees and our asylees connected to a doctor as soon as possible in order to take advantage of that Medicaid, because so many times they're connected to a doctor and then they miss their appointment, and then 6 months goes by and now they have 2 months and their Medicaid's about to run out. And so just really making sure that clients at refugees have that connection.
I have a good news. The 8 months is now a year.
It is?
Yes.
When did that change?
I think 8 or 9 months ago. Yeah, it has changed like recently. And now before, clients were not able to get dental assistance with their Medicaids. Now they can go and see a dentist as well with their Medicaids.
That's great. Okay. Well, I'll apply that right away.
Yeah.
I'll apply that knowledge right away.
I want to add that that is only for basically people who have like an actual status granted. So we're talking people who are actually refugees and asylees, not people who are in the United States or who had other immigrants applying for like asylum or something like that. So other type of immigrants that do not have a specific status, that they're just trying or they're going through the process to become asylees. There is really not resources or medical resources out there that you can like give them that allows them to go pay a lower percentage or for free at all. And you know, as we know, these people also struggle because they don't have work permits, don't they have anything like that. So it's very difficult. So those connections are, as Christine said, are very important.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you so much for expanding on that, and that's good news. That's really great news that it's expanded to a year. Now, our next question is, you kind of touched on this a little bit throughout our conversation, just for the audience to remember what organization offers what. How does each of your organizations support the immigrants or refugees in our community?
Well, I'm unmuted, so I'll go ahead. A Project for Healing, as I said in the beginning, is a mental health and wellness center for refugees, asylees, and we also serve non-refugees and asylees, so asylum pending and undocumented. And we have both Arabic and Spanish-speaking therapists here. We are specialized in working with severe trauma, and so that is something that we are comfortable working with. We will also help the refugee overcome any barrier they might have to receiving healthcare, mental health care. We will help them connect to a doctor. We'll teach them how to ride the bus if they don't know how to get to our facility, or maybe they have Medicaid and they don't know how to schedule a Medicaid taxi. We'll help them with that. We'll connect them to any resource that they might need. Maybe it's something regarding food or something regarding education for their children. We also connect with a lot of different organizations in our community. So Child Guidance, Mental Health Resource Center. We'll also help them if they're not really sure how to take their medication. We will help them learn how to fill a med tray, take their medication, understand how to get their medication. So really any kind of barriers to mental health care, we will help them with through our collaboration with UNF. We have social workers, intern social workers and intern therapists that are here helping us help them overcome those barriers.
That's great. And Catholic Charities has 5 programs available for refugees and immigrants to get help. So the first program is Reception and Placement, which is my program. The second program is Match Grant, which is also my program. The third program is ESOL. Fourth is TCM, Tier Case Management, and the fifth is Immigration. So with the Reception and Placement program, we help all the newly arrived refugees to the country. We help them with the airport reception, first meal, housing, furnishing their first apartment, with all the furniture that people donating to us. And we also provide financial support for the refugees and SIV families for the first 3 months. And we obtain social security cards and also all other required legal documents. Also, we help them with school enrollment, SSI process, WIC process, and selective service, and also referring them to different employment programs available in the community. Also, changing their address, public benefits, also the culture orientation class. With the 15 different topics. For the Match Grant program, we also, in this program, if a client is eligible for this program, also we provide financial support to the clients for the first 6 months of their arrival. We help clients with creating CVs, searching jobs, obtaining jobs, employment classes, and also helping them with any specific training if they need so. And our ESOL program, We provide ESOL classes from level 100 to level 400 and different locations that we have in the area in Jacksonville. And from level, we work, we have a contract with FACJ, and our clients, they go to FACJ from level whom are level 500 to level 800. And TCM, Care Case Management, it's a DCF-based contract program. This program provides help to the refugees, asylees, immigrants, if they pass the DCF assessment, which is getting complete by the program manager. And if they pass the assessment, they will be able to seek any kind of help that they need according to their needs. If it's DCF application, if it's any medical need, if it's SSI help with the SSI benefits, any kind of needs that they need. And our immigration legal services, it's recognized by the Department of Justice, DOJ, and we provide help. We help them with the family petition, like helping families, immigrants with a Find a Path to Citizenship program. But this program provides affordable fee-based services. It's not totally free, so the fees are lower than other places, but it's a fee-based program.
So I guess I will pick up after. First of all, let me apologize. It feels like we're having some internet issues here.
I cannot hear Lori. I don't know what about the rest.
Yeah,
No.
I can't hear either, but
I can go maybe until she
Yeah.
yeah. So of course, I want to also mention that the other refugee resettlement agencies here, we have Lutheran Social Services, which I think Catholic Charities and Lutheran Social Services, and we used to have World Relief, but I mean, part of it, I always invite people to really support these resettlement organizations because they exist, because they're really passionate about what they are doing. For me, I will just like recognize my full-time paid position, which is I am the Florida Refugee Organizer with the Florida Immigrant Coalition. And that's actually, I am a former refugee. And when I came, all what Hellai just mentioned, I went through the whole programs. I really benefited from everything. I came through Lutheran Social Services Orlando, then I moved to Jacksonville. And after a while, I start helping and supporting these organizations to connect them with my community and try to help with interpretation, whatever support that they need in the community. Little after a while, I start teaching full-time math and science, but in the same time, try to involve and educate the community about refugees and who we are and why we end up being here. Because part of it, all the time when I go out, so you're from Iraq, why you are here, what brought you here. So I think there is a lot of education needed to happen in the community. And I know two refugee resettlement agencies, with all what they are doing, we needed more support from the community and also from the refugees themselves to come out and speak and share. I became more advocate for the refugees in Florida with the Refugee Congress. And then in the beginning, I think there was no problem bringing the refugee as a topic, and the refugee was like a friendly a topic to speak about. But then I think when politics became an issue around refugees nationally, they realized that we need refugees organizing to be on the ground too, because we know like immigrants organizing have been for years exist, but why we will need to organize refugees, because refugees are well vetted, and they come in and there are specific programs for them, but with all the loss of the numbers of refugees and also the funding for these programs, nationally, they realized we need organizing in the ground. And that's how I became more involved with organizing the refugees community and fight for funding to these programs that Hellai just mentioned, and Lutheran Social Services and Project for Healing and all of these amazing programs that are on the ground. But also, So one is a policy and having refugees speak on behalf of these organizations as well. So we started having Refugee Day at the Capitol in Tallahassee last year and this year, and some of these organization clients were with us asking and speaking on behalf of themselves and this organization in Tallahassee, and engaging our refugees community into the process. So bring them even and make them civically be engaged. Yes, getting citizen and being citizen and voting, great, but actually what after that? And actually trying to also help refugees to understand that they can run for an office after a while and be represented and represent their communities. So that's pretty much what I do with the Florida Immigrant Coalition, and I really enjoy it. And also the education part. We have a University Without Wall, which we try to engage our immigrants and refugees community about the history of the United States, what migration mean, and how we integrate as refugees and immigrants into the new community. What the term LGBTQ, what anti-Blackness, and all of these things, and understand it well, so they can come in and be civically engaged. That's led me actually to co-founded WeaveTales, because I understood that not many refugees enjoy and understand the importance of storytelling and why it's important for we as refugees here in a new community to share our story. First of all, people don't know me or don't know a refugee, and I'm so new and I need to build a trust. And part of it, well, I need to build trust by sharing my story, by telling people here, this is me, that's the way I left home or I was forced to leave home, and this is my new home. So if I want to be part of this community, well, I need to invite people to listen to me and share my story. And that's what actually led me to co-found WeaveTales. And part of it's actually, I really want to thank Mosh, because they opened their door and we were supposed to host an on-the-ground event, the Hardy Table, but of course COVID-19 hit and we tried to make sure the event continues. So we turned it to be a 6 virtual online event, which we have one of the events happening tomorrow, highlighting a refugee story from Eritrea, who's gonna share a really nice recipe from home. But also Mosh was so more generous that they want to do and educate the community about these amazing organization. And that's why this live event became an option. Thank you so much for having us actually, and for sharing with your platform and your community the amazing news about these organizations.
I guess it's me. Say Jacksonville Legal Aid. It's a full service attorney firm, basically. So we have over 57 attorneys. We do very different type of law. So we serve through a refugee community, immigrant community, anything from employment, from landlord-tenant issues, from housing issues. And then my specific unit, we do immigration. So we are the ones who help immigrants and refugees specifically to get their green card papers so they can, or their work permits if they don't have it, to be able to get their legal status and then their citizenship here. My unit specifically has 3 attorneys and 2 paralegals. So we help provide full service for family-based immigration, meaning not business immigration or not related to employment visas, right? We're talking about green cards, family petitions, asylums, waivers, everything. We do most of it, provide a lot of free services, depending on our grants. We have low bono, which is you pay a very small percentage to have an actual attorney doing all your immigration work, and not just a notario or a person who just has no idea and then has no idea what they're doing in their process, and create a lot more problems when an actual attorney can help navigate immigrants this really hard path what immigration is. Basically provide a full service and related to immigration.
And okay, I guess our internet is up and running well now. So just to give you some idea about Beyond 90, we kind of pick up where Catholic Charities leaves off at the 90-day point. And there's still a lot of need with a lot of the refugees needing that ongoing support. We do things like Medicaid, food stamps, unemployment, whatever they bring in our door. If they don't understand their mail, if they had an accident, they don't know how to self-report. There's really nothing that we won't tackle except for the legal issues that require a lawyer. We leave that to the experts. But anything else, if they bring it in our door, we figure it out with them. And I think that just gives them a sense of knowing that they have a place to go and to continue to go to find some support. In addition to our client services, we also do some empowerment learning, and that we try to focus on 3 key areas of self-sufficiency. We want to make sure that eventually they will be able to self-advocate for their jobs, that they'll be able to manage their own health care and manage their own households. And so we offer classes. We have a driver's permit test prep class that they come in that's video based, and we help them to prepare for that driver's permit test. We also have a computer literacy class that they come in and they learn basic typing skills, the basics of Microsoft Word, so that they can build their own resumes to be able to, again, self-advocate for jobs. We have also a women's social class. It's mostly to build community, but alongside building community, they're also learning to sew. And so the ladies really enjoy doing that. In addition, we also have some housing that we are always looking to expand that portfolio, but with the rents increasing
we lost her again.
Well, I will say a lot of you have touched on this, and I know as organizations providing support yourself, I'm sure there's some opportunities for you to receive support to continue providing those services. So I did want to ask, are there volunteer opportunities available with your organizations? And if so, how can someone assist you and assist, therefore, the refugees that are settling in Jacksonville?
I don't know, maybe Lori can finish up and ask for volunteers.
Oh, volunteers. Thank you. I apologize. We never have these issues at the office, so I do apologize for being in and out. We can always use lots of volunteers. We need volunteers for our classes. Hopefully when COVID passes, we're going to continue with our community events. We also always need volunteers for that. We need general administrative work, client services, social media, fundraising, somebody who wants to pick up and drop off donations. We provide the truck. You just have to know how to drive stick shift, because I don't and I can't do that. And we also have opportunities where in our housing, we may do rehabs, painting, demos. We've done full demos, not afraid to even take that on. So if there's anybody out there that wants to get on those HGTV skills, we'll take them on and come join us. We would love to have you.
Yeah.
And our agency encourage the teamwork of salary staff and volunteers, so we can provide more services, like the possible services to those who we serve. And volunteers contribute their talents, specific skills to enable salaried staff to concentrate on services and to provide more services to the clients. And volunteers can support refugees and immigrants in different areas. So, but the most helps that we get for refugees and immigrants in my program, I get help for airport pickups, apartment setups, assisting with school enrollment, also medical appointments. Like I'm personally myself, I always look for volunteers who can help me with the medical appointments, because medical appointments for clients itself, it takes 3 hours, 4 hours per day of my day. And it's really hard. And I have many clients, like for example, maybe 8, 9 families at the same time. so it's really hard for us to take them for the medical appointments. So we always looking for volunteers who can help us with the medical appointments. And if you guys know anybody, you can always refer them to our organization. We will really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I can jump into, I know all what it says, and also I think we need allies. I know the community really supportive here in Jacksonville in terms of supporting the refugees and volunteering with organizations, but also using this opportunity of World Refugee Day this weekend. If people have contact with the mayor office, with the city council, educating them about the refugees program, educating them about these programs that already exist. I know COVID-19 had impact many families, especially from the refugees community too, because some of them, they came in new and they still maybe didn't get any kind of support from the government because of their paperwork that was still under still under work. So I think there have been a lot of needs in our communities. Just to bring something really quick, in Arizona, one of the cities there, they did put a specific budget to the refugees program there to support the refugee resettlement agencies and to support families during COVID-19. I think I would love to see more of this happening here in our city, because I know COVID-19 hit these families who already struggling on finding jobs because of language barrier, and now losing jobs and looking for online jobs, it's been even more harder. I receive phone calls all the time because most of the jobs our communities do are really on hand, and people need to be on the ground doing it. And for them, losing these kind of opportunities now put them in danger of being homeless. So I think it's really needed for people to make calls and educate our elected officials about the refugees' work, and telling people in the community too about these organizations and the work we do, because it's donations, volunteers, but also engage our elected official in the process. It's really needed.
I'll jump in. So for us, we receive a lot of donations, and regarding volunteers, we are a lot need for translators or interpreters. We have a lot of issues when we go to naturalization appointments with USCIS, and then the person it's eligible for a medical waiver, but they don't have a person who translates for them in front of the official. Same thing for the appointments when we're going to do their green cards or stuff like that. We struggle to find people that are not family members, so they're not children, to do that translation for us. We also liked, volunteers to help us organizing clinics. I think part of it is also directly to the refugees or to the immigrants, relating to what can they do? What is the process? Because immigration, it's a very hard process. And then depending on what part or how you came into the country, it has many different ways and you can do an immigration process. So education is a big part of it. And there's a lot of miseducation. There's a lot of information in the internet, some of them not correct. There are also a lot of people in the community that take advantage of refugees and immigrants, and try to just take money from them, and their process is done very wrong. So when they actually come to an attorney, it's really hard and very convoluted to try to get all these and help them some way. So we're always looking for volunteers and people who help us work clinics together, or like have a contact in a specific community so we can provide clinics and education about immigration.
We have one last question to leave everyone taking with their thoughts, the audience. What is one big takeaway you'd like our audience to leave this discussion and help further their education?
I can start with that one. I know a lot of times when there's talk about refugees and it's about their suffering and their need and the lack of resources they have, but I always want to make sure that everybody understands that immigration is like an incubator for our economy. So immigrants are 40% more likely to start their own business and create a small business. And that's how we grow our economy. In the United States, our economy and its growth is dependent on small businesses. And when we bring in diversity and we bring in different populations and different languages, not only does our economy get stronger, but also we are more enticing as a community for big corporations to come to our city and to put in a warehouse, a factory. And big companies are really interested in coming to communities that are diverse. And Jacksonville, a lot of people don't understand that Jacksonville is one of the most diverse parts of Florida. We have about 132 languages in our school system alone. Yes, there's a lot of different Spanish speaking and Haitian speaking people throughout the state of Florida, but Jacksonville is just full of different cultures and different communities. We have a little Baghdad, and we have an African village in Arlington, and there's a lot of places where there's communities that are growing and thriving. So my takeaway I would like to leave for everybody is, yes, when immigrants first come into a community, they do have needs, but they accelerate and improve and are adding to our community within 5 years, a big addition to our community. So we have to help them and embrace them, and then they will support us because they love being here. Most of the time, they are just very grateful about the opportunities the United States has given them, and they take full advantage.
Go ahead.
Sorry. And I really want to add to this that last year I attended a training in Cleveland, Ohio, and I met, and there was a guy who provided a presentation, represented presentation, and he was 25 years old, and he was a refugee, and he had his own business, and he had eight employees working under him. So I really like the phrase that he used. He said that refugees are not taking jobs, they are creating jobs. So I was like so amazed for him. So I want everybody to remember this, that refugees are creating jobs. They are always not taking jobs. So as Christine said, that yes, at the first time when they come to United States, they have their needs, they need some assistance, but at the end, they are creating jobs, they are bringing more opportunities, they are bringing more money to United States. So, and we should understand that, and this is what I'm trying to explain wherever I'm going. This is the first thing I'm explaining to the meeting attendees, to the people who are around me, and I really appreciate Christine that she bring this on.
And I would just like to add that I'd really like to encourage everybody to really learn about the refugees that live in their communities, and really reach out, because they are some of the most amazing, resilient people that I have ever met. And they have an amazing life, even though there's been a lot of trauma and there could be a lot of sad things in it. There's a lot of just fun things to learn along with them, whether it be words in their language or ways they cook or anything. And so that's why I think what Basma is doing with the WeaveTales and the storytelling is huge. And so reach out to them. They really want to talk about that. They love to embrace. Community is a big thing, and they will bring you in like family. So I really encourage everybody to just reach out to a new person in their community and build a relationship there.
Yeah, and just to pick it from Lori, I think meet a refugee, is that's what I really want to emphasize on. I have met many people who were born and raised in Jacksonville and have some kind of stereotype in their mind because of the media. And as soon as they hear my story, hear my community stories, they become an advocate. So I think I encourage people to meet a refugee, hear the story. I know during COVID-19 now it's hard, but we are actually sharing the stories online. So 6 Hardy Table events already out. 3 of them were already out and 3 more coming. The stories being shared online on YouTube every Saturday. Meet them and ask questions because we do love to answer and we do love to talk and brag about our home and our culture. And I think that's the only way we can connect, by sharing and talking. I just want to say tomorrow is World Refugee Day. So hopefully people could make calls, meet a refugee, talk to them within social distance. And today, happy Juneteenth Day as well. I want to make sure that, hey, I'm new, but I'm learning about the history, and I really enjoy if there's any injustice happen anywhere, we should just change it and be part of the change. So we as refugees seek safety and seek justice. And actually we should have been part of this change to seek safety and justice for others as well. Thank you so much.
I'm going back to a little bit of what Christine said. Many of the refugees, I say most of them, that they are here. They're so grateful. I am so grateful. I went through the asylum process myself, and I am so grateful. This country has given me so much. I have a family now. My family's here. I work really hard to get where I am, to be an attorney here, and this country has given me so much. And I know a lot of the people are refugees, a lot of immigrants are so happy and grateful. And it's hard sometimes in the time in we're living, where there's so much division from immigrants, many people from African-American communities. And we just, I guess, seeking that union, somehow. Somebody who can tell you that we're all humans, right? We all, doesn't matter what culture, what background you are, what race you are, we're all humans. We all deserve that, to be treated like humans. That's pretty much. And I say thank you to all for inviting us here, to give us this platform to kind of educate people about what refugees, what immigrants are. That it is just about what Basma and what pretty much everybody's saying. Just take a little bit of your time to know a person in your community that is an immigrant, and you'll be surprised that it is a more good people than not. People that really struggle, that really are in problems in their home country, that is not safe for them to return, that anything, and to be able for having here, to have that safety, to have that peace. I tell you, of my experience, it's amazing. And this, like I said, I'm really thankful for this country, and I love this country. It has given me so much, that I'm sure that if you give yourself the opportunity to know a refugee, an immigrant, you will understand as well.
Awesome. It's been great to hear how you all have been helping around the clock for those immigrating here, not only to navigate, the political climate and the laws, but how you can meet them, in their personal needs, and how it's such a personal journey for them, and how you can make them comfortable and get here. And I did want to point out that we actually have some viewers checking in from Turkey. So
wow.
Yeah. And we just really want to extend our thank you and our gratitude for you all taking the time today to host this discussion with us. And we hope that everyone listening has a better understanding of how the experience of immigrants and refugees really does positively impact our community.
Thank you guys so much. I just want to thank the panelists again and thank the viewers for tuning in. This has been a wonderful discussion, and I hope Mosh can help facilitate more in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. You all have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Friday, and happy Juneteenth.
You as well. Thank you
So much.